Welcome to Python Basics with EJD. In this video, we are still talking about Python packages as we consider two nice packages for web scraping. That's BeautifulSoup and Scrapy. So these two packages are used for web scraping. Disclaimer, I don't use them, so I'm just trying to introduce you to them in case you ever have need for them. So some of the codes I'll be running may not run because probably I don't have the full functionalities. All right, so we're just exposing ourselves to the basics. All right, so talking about BeautifulSoup and Scrapy for web scraping. By way of introduction, BeautifulSoup is a lightweight Python library for parsing hypertext markup language and extracting structured data using CSS selectors or tags. On the other hand, Scrapy is a fast, scalable Python framework for crawling multiple pages and building end-to-end web scraping pipelines. Of course, from the description of this tutorial, you discover that BeautifulSoup is good for maybe handling very small, if you're working on a very small scale, but Scrapy is good if you're working on a large scale. Of course, when it comes to web scraping, there's a whole lot of ethical issue and things like that. So you also want to be sure, and that's why I'm not even able to do so much in this video beyond introducing you to some possibilities. All right, so the learning goals will be something around how to parse HTML reliably with BeautifulSoup. That you learn how to fetch web pages, handle encodings, and use BeautifulSoup to navigate and parse HTML content effectively. Then you can use CSS selectors and XPath to target elements precisely. So you can master CSS selectors and XPath expressions for extracting specific tags, attributes, and nested structures from web pages. Then you can extract clean, structured data like text, attributes, and tables. So build workflows to transform raw HTML into structured datasets, including text content, metadata, and tabular information. Then you can crawl multi-page sites with Scrapy. You can have pagination, category, to detail flows. So use Scrapy's crawling capabilities to handle multi-page navigation, follow links, and build spiders that scale across sections of a website. So you can store data too in form of CSV, JSON, SQLite. You can validate it and play nicely with websites. But of course, you have to play. Play nicely with website talks about ethics and throttling, right? So implement pipelines to save data in multiple formats, enforce data quality, respect robots.txt, apply delays, and avoid overloading servers. So first of all, the setup. In fact, I think I will just not bother trying to run anything here. All right. So here, the setup looks something like this. You need to create a clean environment, which is optional, by the way, by doing Python dash m venv.venv and then source. And, by doing this whole thing, of course, you install the libraries, pip install request, BeautifulSoup for LXML, CSS select, pandas, pip install Scrapy, then optional extras like install Scrapy Playwright, install item loaders and things like that. So these are the things you need for the setup. Then let's focus on BeautifulSoup for HTML parsing and extraction. So talking about fetch and parse. So in this case, we need to import request, and from BS4 you import BeautifulSoup, right? So and in case you have a URL like maybe a website you want to scrape, you put it here. I don't have that now. That's why I'm not even running the codes in the first place. I'm just introducing you to possibilities here. So, and then you have our request.get URL. So this is the way you go about this whole thing. So the URL you have here comes here, and then the headers, user agent, Mozilla 5.0 and all that. Then r.raise for status. Then you have the soup itself, now BeautifulSoup r.text LXML for the HTML parser. Then we come to CSS selectors. So here, course, you have the titles, soup.select, it's a h2.title, that's your tag, nav.links, you have soup.select nav a, descendants, you have the logo, soup.select underscore one, you have img hashtag hash site logo, that's your ID, you have CTA, and this whole thing, right? So the tip here is that BeautifulSoup supports a practical subset of CSS pseudo classes like full colon has open and close brackets. These aren't available. Then when you need more power, you can consider XPath via LXML. So Then to extract structured data now, you can use something like this. You have data, this for key in soup.select, div.quote, text is all the span text, get text, is strip, author, small author, and you go on with all of this. All right. Then you can also do tables and data frames. All right. So like converting tables from probably a website into a data frame. So the code you have on the screen is the kind of thing you get to use in that situation, right? So I'll just flash some of the pages. So in case you're interested, and of course you can download the code sheets from just look at the description box on Google, I mean on YouTube or on Facebook, and then it takes you to a Google Drive and you can download the data, the code sheets like that. Okay. Then talking about pagination with request plus BeautifulSoup, right? So imagine that from URL lib.parse import URL join, and then you put the URL you want to scrape, you put it there. So while URL R is request.get, URL headers, all of this, you extract items, and then you have something like this. So there are some common pitfalls attached to this, like encoding. So use r.apparent underscore encoding from chardet versus charset normalizer if characters appear incorrect. Then whitespace.html entities apply.get underscore text, for all this. Then relative URLs, you have all of this. Then for bots and blocks, set a proper user agent header, respect robots.txt. I think this robots.txt helps you to know if a particular site has capabilities for you to be able to scrape it. All right. Then add delays and retries. Keep request volume low to avoid being blocked. Right. So you can be blocked actually if you're playing unethically in web scraping. Right. So you have CSS selectors to XPath quick map. So you have this whole thing here. I'll just leave it on the screen for a little bit and then move on. So far that's talking about BeautifulSoup for web for HTML parsing and all that. All right. So let's go to Scrapy and talking about its fundamentals. It's the fast. So Scrapy fundamentals, of course, Scrapy is good for fast scalable crawling. So if you want to do web scraping on a large scale, Scrapy it is for you. So you can create a project. You have Scrapy, start project, code spider, then CD code spider, Scrapy, gen spider codes, blah, 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 like all of that. All right. And then you can have your project layout like this. So you have code spider / code spider, items.py, and all of these things, right? So you have the structured data schema, you have your spiders, you have validation stroke storage, and you have throttling, UA, and feeds. Then you can define items like you want to define a schema. So you have code spider / items.py, then you import Scrapy, and then you have class. So you create a class quote item, scrapy.item, text is scrapy.field, author, tags, URL, and all of this for the creation of a schema. So you can have a basic spider with pagination in this format. Let me try to see if we can. Okay, yeah, I've been able to put it on the screen all at once. So you have a basic spider with pagination. So you import a Scrapy, yeah, you create a class called quote spider. You have Scrapy.spider in the name equals quotes, allow domains. So the website you want to scrape, you put it there. Start URLs, you have that. And then you define a function to do all of these things. And then, you go for that. So you can actually run an export using something like Scrapy crawl quotes -0 quotes.json or -0 code.csv, whatever format you desire. All right, so you can have one-liners where you have no items or pipelines needed, and they are great to start. So for production, you can prefer items and pipelines. So you're also free to crawl multiple sections, like maybe they are you want to crawl, you want to detail some pages right there. Okay, so here. So you create a class called book spider with scrapy.spider there, name books, start URL, you have HTTP books to scrape. You define functions like pass category, and pass books, book like that. And then you do all of this. Okay. Then you have the cross spider, which is for rules plus link extractor. So first of all, you need to install Scrapy. So people install Scrapy. So far, we've not had to use okay. We have imported Scrapy right here. Yeah, so before you even do this, you needed to have installed all of these things. I think this works. We should have installed Scrapy ahead of here. So, but I think from here we can do a bit of things. I'm not too sure. Let's just try to check this out. Yeah. So pip install Scrapy. It's of course conditions already satisfied. Okay, maybe it does that each time, right? I don't know. So all of this is going down. Okay. And when it's all done, we can move on. They have all these things coming. Okay, I think it's finally it's completed now. So here now, in the next cell, we have quotes. Okay, what we are actually doing here is cross spider. We have the rules plus the link extractor. Okay, so and here now we have the item. Okay, I think I've jumped. Okay, so from Scrapy to spiders, import cross spider and rule. From Scrapy to link extractors, import link extractor, and you have all of this. Um, okay, this just goes like that. Then you can have item loaders and pipeline, clean, validate, and store like that. So you can clean, validate, and store. So you have the item loader, which is optional but neat. So you have this whole kind of code like this, and then that goes. So you can have pipelines, deduplication, DB writes. So you have code spider slash pipelines.py. So from item adapter, you import item adapter, import SQLite. So you have some SQL thing going on right there. Okay. And then you can enable pipeline and feeds in settings.py. So if you do that, you can run this now. So you have item pipelines, code spider dot pipeline dot SQLite pipeline and all that. Then feeds code JSON and blah blah. And then you can perform politeness and reliability. So if you run this now, it gives you okay, have that going. And then we can have logins and sessions like this. Then you can have JavaScript heavy sites. Then talking about playwrights there, so we can run this also. Then you can have an example of how to use playwright in a spider. All right. So we have an example. Let's say if you go by this code like this. So try to show everything on screen. Yeah. So here we can run this. Then, of course, nothing has shown up all this while, but they have been working good. So data quality and schema now. So you can normalize white space, currency, dates. So you use dateutil.parser.parse, validate types and required fields, item loaders of pydantic models, deduplicate by stable key like URL, title plus author, SKU, record provenance, then debugging and development workflow. So you have a script shell, selectors, login, small test runs, and all of this. Then of course, since you're talking about web scraping, there are definitely going to be ethics and legal issues. You want to be sure of that. So you want to check robots.txt and terms of service. You want to identify yourself, user agent, rate limit, and avoid harming services. Then do not scrape PII or paywall content without permission. Then catch, crawl off peak, and prefer official APIs when available. Then some practice track. I mean, if you want to practice web scraping, right, there are some ways to go. So you can have BeautifulSoup warm up. You can scrape quotes and authors from the first page and export it as a CSV. Then pagination, you can collect all quotes across pages with request plus BeautifulSoup. Tables, now you can pass a statistics table into a clean data frame with proper types. Scraping basics, you can build a quote spider, export JSON lines. Then you have categories to details. You can crawl a bookstore, category products and pagination. Pipelines, you can save to SQLite, enforce uniqueness on a key. Advanced selectors, you can mix CSS and XPath for tricky notes. Playwright, you can render and scrape a lazy loaded list. Validation, attach item loaders, normalize prices and dates. Then capstone, you can do a capstone project where you crawl a multi-section site end-to-end with robots obeyed, throttling tuned, categories, details, pagination, clean, structured exports, provenance fields, retry, catch, and graceful restarts. Then some handful snippets we can use follow. You can follow relative links safely, right? So imagine you have from url.parse import URL join. If you run this, I think we're going to have a response thing. Yeah. I don't know. I started running codes. I said I wasn't going to run codes because I don't have the full facility for this, and I'm really not interested. I think that's the main reason. I'm really not interested in this. I'm just introducing the whole idea. And then here we've defined the function clean return join split replace XAO. Okay, and then we can do Scrapy export formats like in JSON and all that. Okay, so here I am running codes again and getting errors. Okay, then you have depth and domain limits. So you want to know how far you need to go. So for setting this, where you have depth length 3 in Spider, allow domains example.com, right? So because you can only scrape some websites, you can't scrape all websites. So when do you pick which tool? So if you are doing a one-off page or simple site, you just need request plus BeautifulSoup. But if you are doing site-wide pagination, categories, concurrency, robust retries, structured pipeline, then you're going for Scrapy. Then if you're doing JS rendered pages, you go for Scrapy plus Playwright or a site's official API if available. So that's my introduction for you. And my introduction on BeautifulSoup and Scrapy for web scraping. If that is something you are interested in, I mean, I don't have the full facility, so you may want to go a step further to get everything you need to make this work. All right, with this, I come to the end of this interesting video. Let me know how helpful this is for you. And if there's something you'd like me to try out, feel very free to let me know. If you have not subscribed already, you're missing a lot. So go ahead and subscribe, hit the notification bell also so you can always get alerted each time a new video is released. And if you have subscribed, yes, thank you for doing that. You can take it a step further by clicking on join. So you become a member of the channel, and this gives you some extra special privileges, as you can see when you click join. Ultimately, don't forget to comment, like, and share so that more people can have access to the great content I have going on here. Till I come your way again, keep doing Python right. Bye.